Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So, for better discipline, mute yourself first. Let me speak first, then you should speak. So, basics are like, my name is S. Ansari, not LUKMAAN. People know that my name is LUKMAAN. It's my father's name. Just for correction and information. So, LUKMAAN is my name of father, means name of my father. But my name is less known and LUKMAAN is well known. Institutes are, it's a culture that either you can name your institute on father's name or anyone's name or a neutral name. No. So there can be neutral name also. So that's just for information so that you have right information. Second thing is that since it is for a strategy session, so strategy session is not a teaching session. So we should do justice to that by telling some basics so that you can strategize yourself. You can adopt a right strategy. Adopting a right strategy is essential. In fact, a precondition for success. What is right strategy? So you know only when you qualify. Largely people go by hit and trial. And they try to learn the strategy of UPSC, what exactly UPSC demands. And it takes some time. Some people know it early stage, some people know it later stage, middle stage, some people never know that. So, when you have decided for civil service preparation, no, I guess you have decided. So, if you have taken a decision, so it can be considered your one of the biggest decisions or biggest decision in your career, not necessarily in life. So, you may have so far appeared in several examinations. You may have performed, but this examination is different from all those examinations. Simply because you can understand by the fact that if a person has second division, he qualifies, but a person has first division, he may be topper throughout the academic life, but he still does not qualify. So, UPSC is different, it means. We have been thinking that if a person who comes top in school, in college, so he is a very intelligent person. Yes, he is an intelligent person, there is no doubt on that. He has proved his academic excellence in a particular area. But whether that academic excellence in that area is going to help in UPSC, so only he can realize himself whether it works. So far the experiences, if you see, shows that it is not which academic background you carry, rather that whether you understand UPSC better. Those who understand UPSC better, they qualify. So when you have taken this decision, it is, we say generally as the biggest risk you have taken. Because it takes a set of, it can take a couple of years, or it can take, let's say that a person can qualify in first attempt, person can qualify in 7th attempt also. So your range is from 1st to 7th, 1st to 5th, this. And then are you prepared for such a short and long journey? Because your journey can be short also, and it can be long also. This. That will be decided by whether you have adopted a right path for preparation. This. In the beginning, I don't want to sound negative, but what we are trying to sound is that the most important first step is whether you have taken a right decision, a right path, or right strategy to prepare for this career examination, which is the most difficult examination in the world, not only in India. Because if it is most difficult in India, so it is also in the world. Isn't it? By quantum of people appearing, because China does not have all India competitive examination. Anyhow, so it is the most difficult examination in the world. This, you have decided for that. That's why let's say that you are very bold, courageous, motivated that you have taken this risk. But when you have taken this risk, so then you should do justice to that risk by adopting a right strategy, a right path, how to prepare for this civil service examination. There are so many strategies nowadays. There are so many channels, so many institutions, right? So many people to guide. This. That poses you lots of challenge. You are in fact at crossroad. But at crossroad there are only 4 roads. But at this crossroad there are no 4 roads. Right. There can be 40 roads. Right. Which one is right? Because at every step someone is going to tell you, you follow this, you do this, you do this. So this is what we generally try to tell. How can we say that whatever we are saying is right strategy? That's the point. Because today you should know that in society it is very difficult to know what is truth and who is truthful. Isn't it? It has become very challenging. The more the society advances, the greater the challenge to know who is truthful, what is truth, whether it is a true news, whether it is a true fact, whether it is a true post, isn't it? And whether it is a right strategy. But at the same time, the pace of learning has increased. Since the pace of learning has increased, nowadays you can learn fast, isn't it? Can we say? So you can read and learn faster than past generation. How we come to know this? So in past generation was writing one essay test, means one essay in 3 hours. Now you have to write 2 essays in 3 hours. So your learning is double. Your pace of learning should be double of that of past generation. So your pace of learning has also improved. This at the same time your challenges have also improved. This and whatever the strategy you adopt, I will tell in outset, follow one strategy. Try to know all strategies as much as you can. To give at least 1 year to know all these things. Anyhow, so try to know as much as you can different strategies and invest your time. But once you decide, okay, this is the strategy I have to follow, this is the guidance I have to follow, right? And this is the optional I have to follow, then adhere by that, stand by that, execute it, at least for 1 year. So, if you execute, and suppose it, even if it is average strategy you have adopted, but you execute it, so even average strategy can work better. But suppose you adopt a very good strategy, but you do not follow it. You keep changing. What keep changing? Let's how we change. So you may read one book, next time you read another book, next time you read another book, isn't it? So at times you read this notes, then that notes. There are so many things in the market. At times you read this magazine, then that magazine. So basically what will happen that even if you are trying to search the best one, but it may take lots of time and it may not work. But even if a person has adopted an average strategy and he has executed it for 1 year, so he can be successful. Because we need to secure 45 to 53%. If you secure 45 to 53%, you can come in top 100. It is not CBSE to secure 100%. Still you will not come in top 100. Because there are thousands who have secured 100. So, by that you have to understand, if you are securing 45 to 53%, you are getting top rank. The person who comes first, 53%, 54%. Right? 53% आ जाएगा 10+2 में तो suicide करेगा. Right? The parents will say that, duffer, isn't it? Anyhow, so that is how UPSC is different. पेरेंट्स को आप परसेंटेज मत बताना, सिर्फ बताना कि मैं IAS बन गया हूँ. If you tell कि I have secured 53%, they will doubt on IAS also. Right. This. So that's why let's say strategy is important. Now you will wonder. You'll wonder that why people are even not able to secure 45 to 53%, isn't it? Although you have secured throughout your academic career 100%, isn't it? Not 100%, 90%, 95%. So why it is so difficult? So it is not difficult because paper is difficult. It is difficult because those who are appearing, they have made it difficult. No. Anyone can appear who is graduate from 21st year to 32 years plus minus inflation, means reservation. So anyone who is 21 to 32 years can appear. He can be a law graduate, he can be a doctor, he can be engineer, he can be MBA wala, he can be, let's say that ki normal graduate from Delhi School of Economics. So from any, let's say that ki university, college, any candidate is going to appear. So when any candidate is going to appear, so for the first time you are going to face such competition that your competitors, right? So your competitors can be, let's say that ki very different in terms of their approach, in terms of their decision making, in terms of their writing skill, in terms of their knowledge, this. And since they are better, so they have set the benchmark of their, let's say, standard. And that is how UPSC standard has become something like. So that's why it is difficult. It is not difficult because UPSC is difficult. Right. The same paper of UPSC, and suppose this paper is introduced in Bhutan, what will happen? जैसे candidates होंगे वैसा ही तो आंसर लिखा जाएगा. Then UPSC will have option to select among them, and it will not select at all. Anyhow, but it is also UPSC. It's not only candidates. UPSC also enhances its standards. It's both way. The UPSC also enhances its standard. Students also all categories of students are appearing. So when all categories of students are appearing, so that is how it becomes very challenging. However, your competition is first not with any student. Your competition is with yourself. You have to compete against yourself. For what? Whether you are able to maintain consistency, whether you are able to study average, and with that consistency, continuity, even if you study average number of hours for 1 year, 2 years, etc. So your competition is, your challenge is with yourself. Because whether you are a thorough person, whether you maintain a routine, whether when you study, so you maintain certain standards. So you have to look inside yourself rather than looking towards others. Right? This. And try to change yourself as per the standards of UPSC. So it means that you have to know the standards of UPSC. Right. So how you will know the standards of UPSC, or why you should know standards of UPSC? Unless you know what you have to achieve, how can you know yourself? Right. How can you know yourself? As of now, whatever you know yourself, yes, you know yourself. But in the context of UPSC, do you know your strength and your weakness? Right. This. Like one simple example is, do you have a certain speed of writing? Right. Certain speed of writing, because you should have a speed of writing. If you do not have, so you can practice. If you have, so it is your strength. If you do not have, so it is your weakness. Second, can you articulate and write a piece of paper yourself? Right. Means suppose you have knowledge. On the basis of that knowledge, can you write a piece of paper, means one article related to 150 words, 200 words, and one essay related to 1000 words? Forget about quality. Quality we are not talking. Can you write one, let's say, piece of article, right, yourself? That is called articulation. if you are able to articulate, so you can write. If you are not able to articulate, then you have to learn. Means you have to know your strength and weakness. Right. When you study, whether you try to understand or you try to memorize. What exactly you do? Do you understand or do you try to memorize, or you try to gather information, or you try to understand the concept? Whether you have habit to study in organized fashion, or you study जैसे तैसे casually haphazard, because you know better. So some people study haphazard manner. Some people are very systematic. Those who are systematic, it is their strength. Those who are not systematic, it is their weakness. Right. Can you comprehend the things, so many things, and still keep in mind in order? No, because there are so many things. You have history, geography, economy, polity, so many things you have. Then you have optional. So can you study all those things, still keep in your mind in ordered fashion, or you get confused? If you keep in your mind, so it is your strength. If you do not, so it is your weakness. Now, strength and weakness, when we talk, so it does not mean that if you have weaknesses, then you cannot compete. That's not the point. Point is, unless you know your strength and weakness, you cannot start your journey. You cannot work on your weak areas, right? And you cannot take advantage of your strength. This. So, if for this you have to know about UPSC. UPSC standards. That is how we'll try to tell. Basics, although it is very difficult to tell in one such class everything, and don't expect that we are going to tell each and everything in one class, isn't it? So hit and trial should start, isn't it? So let's take some basics. So after basics, we'll talk about some facts related to UPSC, and first we talk about UPSC Civil Service Examination. Even if you know, but this is what we try to tell. Then we'll try to tell you about some facts related to UPSC. Then we'll try to tell about the syllabus. Then we'll try to tell about UPSC demands. What exactly, let's say, that UPSC demands. And then we'll try to tell about the strategies. What should be the general strategies for preparation of civil services, especially GS paper. And then I will tell about the sections I teach about them, a bit of that. And then we can tell that how we in GS Foundation batch, how, let's say, that we try to provide different types of features. Means our program consists of different types of features, different types of programs, that how we help you to match UPSC standards. And then we'll try to conclude. This is what we'll try to tell. So the thing you are going to approach is called civil service examination. We say it as civil service examination, and this civil service examination consists of prelims, mains, so it consists of two papers, GS CSE. It consists of essay, GS, optional. GS consists of paper 1, 2, 3, 4. Generally, when we say prelims, so in GS, if you secure 90, 100 and around, a range we are saying, so then you can get opportunity to write mains. Although it varies category wise, year wise, which we are not supposed to tell here. It is just we are talking in general. Just imagine that 200 marks securing 90, 110 is very challenging. How it is challenging? We will show some facts you will try to know. Now, you should know that how it has evolved. There was a time when there used to be two papers, one GS and another optional. And GS had 150 questions and optional had 120 questions. Then it was changed and optional was removed. Since 2011, we have CSAT and GS paper. CSAT was also part of merit, but then it was made only qualifying. As of now, it is only qualifying. You have to secure minimum 33%. This. So you can qualify. It is qualifying. For some years, CSAT was kept under merit. But since you know that some people have strength in CSAT, so without studying CSAT, they can secure anything in CSAT. Hence, UPSC made it only qualifying. Now, merit is made only on GS paper in prelims. And 100 questions, 200 marks. Now, why it is difficult? So, first time it has happened that only in 100 questions, merit list is prepared. Before that, there used to be CSAT also part of merit, and before that, optional used to be part of merit. So you may be aware about theory of probability. So probability of success was more in past. Probability of success is less in present. Because only 100 questions are going to decide your merit. In 100 questions, 5 questions you will never attempt. 95 questions. In 95 questions, 30 questions, if you do incorrect, it is still outstanding. Anyhow, so 5 questions you are not going to attempt because they would be very difficult. First time you will see them. What we are trying to say is that each and every question, after securing 70 marks most of the people will secure. And after 70 marks, each and every mark will count like anything and would require lots of efforts. This is the challenge. So this is what, let's say that if you take prelims and syllabus etc. will show that if you take CSAT, it is qualifying. But people are at least 33% people are also not qualifying in CSAT because they have taken it nonchalantly. lack of right strategy. Nonchalantly. And who are those people? Engineers. Engineers are also included in that. Those who are failing to qualify CSAT. This. So when you fail to qualify CSAT, we come to know many students who say that I qualified this but I failed in this. This is what. So one right strategy is that do not take anything lightly. This you should know. Even if you are an engineer, but you cannot take things lightly. Take things not too seriously also. Right. So we do not want you to become too serious or too non-serious. Rather you become serious. This is what. So that is how we can consider on this in general aspect. Let's take essay in mains. So now should we prepare for essay? Should we have a separate preparation for essay? No, not at all. A separate preparation for essay is not needed. Similarly, a separate preparation for interview is also not needed. So you should not unnecessarily worry about that. This. Why? Because when you will study your optional, right, if it is mathematics, though I cannot help. So if you study your optional, right, and GS papers, so they will build your knowledge. Right? There will be building up of knowledge. And that knowledge will help you write essay also and appear in interview also. So the two papers or two, let's say, such segments can be simply kept aside. They cannot be part of your main strategy when you start preparing. Right. So don't start studying for interview, or don't start, let's say, that reading especially for essay. No, it is not needed. And they come at later stage of your preparation, not at first even middle stage of preparation. So that is what we can tell on this aspect. GS paper 4, that is the main, the core aspect. The core aspect of your preparation. Here, since I will take strategy, so there I will tell, here just I wanted to tell the papers. Here let's say that the core strategy, core part of your study. And core part of the study is that first you should study your conventional. The syllabus or the content or the preparation can be divided into three categories. One is called conventional, second is called contemporary, and third is called current. Don't start your preparation with current. Today market is current oriented. Too much of current affairs in market. Right. As if UPSC is about current affairs. Right. But it's not. So too much of current affairs, too much of resources on current affairs, too many YouTube channels on current affairs. So you are bombarded with information and then you are oriented towards current affairs. Daily answer writing practice. This first you know, then daily answer writing practice. Rather people have started writing answer without knowing. So don't put, let's say, that cart before horses. Right. Preparation upside down. That is another right strategy. Current will come unless you go for conventional. It is like this: conventional, contemporary, and current. Current affairs. That is the core. आपने अर्थ तो पढ़ा होगा ना, अर्थ सरफेस. Yes. तो conventional उसका core है, right? It is the core of your preparation. Right. So do you know history? Do you know art and culture? Do you know economy? Core, basics. Right. How economy operates? Do you know about that? Or you know GDP growth rate? So economy operates. There is economic system, there is social system, there is political system, there is geographical system. You have to understand every segments. Right. And once you understand that core, so they will automatically come on the way. This. So that is how the approach should be. And core should be most strong. Right. It should be very strong in your core conventional sections. Now, you cannot make all sections equally better. So you have to decide which paper I should focus more. You should focus any two paper. Any two papers you should focus in this more based on your interest. Right. If you focus on all four papers, it will remain average, isn't it? So, because if you go, suppose you focus two papers more and two papers less, it will be like this. But if you focus average, all will go like this, isn't it? So your efforts will be average. So it is very rare that candidates have average focus on all papers. Right. Rather, they based on their interest. So some people focus on, let's say that paper 1, ethics paper. Some people focus on paper 2, ethics paper. Some people may focus paper 3. So paper 1 is rewarding because it is conventional, isn't it? It has less dynamic section. If you see society, certain aspect of geography, if you keep aside, so it is highly conventional. It is rewarding because conventional does not change much. Once you know history, so it does not change much. Right. But paper 3, right, highly dynamic, and there are so many sections. So many sections. You have economy, you have ecology, you have security, you have technology, you have disaster management. There are so many sections in paper 3. So paper 3 means it would be very challenging because they are dynamic also. Now you have interest in economy, geography, ecology, so then you can, that is how different people have different types of interest, backgrounds. This. So that way, let's say that you can focus this any two papers. Generally nowadays people focus on ethics paper because less study, more rewarding. Right. Among 4 papers, ethics paper will demand the least effort but the maximum benefit. This, because its syllabus is very small, isn't it? Vis-a-vis the first 3 papers. Right. Like you can see, paper 2 I will teach 90 classes plus IR 15 classes, 100 plus, and paper 4 I teach 46 to 48 classes or 50 classes. Just half. Right. It is not also challenging to know, challenging to understand this. If your ethics is better and you have been a better person, that is how your strength. If you have been a better person, you are a rational person, you are a thinking person, so you can do better in ethics paper. So that is what we can say generalist aspect about when we think about paper 1, 2, 3, 4 means what you should follow. Then you should know that there are 2 papers, qualifying papers. So essay or GS optional plus 2 qualifying papers I have not written. 2 qualifying papers are also there. They are language papers. And interestingly, some people fail to qualify language papers. Right. Again, it is about lack of right strategy. Right. So I know one candidate, he used to fail in language paper repeatedly. That was his Marathi language. Right. Marathi, let's say that. They used to repeatedly fail in that language paper. The way people fail in CSAT, similarly people will fail in language paper. So it means you don't have to worry unnecessarily. You have to be aware about कि ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि language में I may not qualify or whether I may be disqualified. Right. Once a person disqualified in language, then papers are not evaluated. This is what language paper, if you disqualify, your result is withheld. So you will not come to know that how better you did in mains examination. Anyhow, it means that you have total 9 papers. There are total 9 papers. So when we have total 9 papers, the 2 papers are not part of merit. It means that 7 papers are part of merit, and all the 7 papers are descriptive answer type. Descriptive. It is the only examination in the world which is still descriptive. And also short and long answer type. US has only short answer type. UK does not have written examination. It has only interview. So that's why I told that it is the toughest examination in the world, descriptive type. Now here your permutation combination should work. Permutation combination should work. You may have read mathematics, even if it was weak, but let's take this. Isn't it? Permutation combination. What permutation combination? In that 4 papers, at least in 2 papers, you should have 100 plus. This. In essay paper, at least you should have 120 plus. And in optional paper, you should have plus. It may keep changing here and there. We are giving just an idea. Now, suppose you secure your optional is strong, so you can bring 300. So you are getting 20 margin. And suppose your essay is better, so you can have 140. 20 another margin. Right. So even if you have, let's say that 2 paper you are not performing, the 40 margin will make you qualify. This. It means what you have to learn. At least 3 papers to 4 papers in 7 papers should click for you. 3 to 4 papers should click for you, work for you. And that we say ethics, essay, optional. This ethics, so least effort, and it is highest score has gone to 160, 163, and if I am not sure, but 167 in ethics paper. Okay. Other papers have not gone even 150 plus. Yes, paper 3 has gone 145 around. This is how. So this we have to understand. It means if your 3 papers are working, optional, essay, ethics, and GS remains average, so you can sail through. This. And if you want to make GS strong, so yes, essay can also work. This is what the strategy, let's say. So even when you study GS, you make it strong, but what we are saying is at least 3 to 4 papers should click for you, work for you. Means you should have above average performance in that. Or you should have something called exceptional performance at least in 1 and 2 papers. Unless you have exceptional performance in 1 and 2 papers, it is not going to work. This. And even if we study all papers, because others are also studying all papers, so where you can secure better, so it is called optional. Whatever the optional you have, you should study optional very systematically, because optional gives you guarantee. Because without securing in optional, even if you secure, don't think that in GS it can be something outstanding. It is very rare that people secure very good in GS, right? So if they secure very good in GS, so their optional is not as outstanding. If optional is outstanding, so they come in top. Right, this. So if you see the past analysis of all such things, it is found that largely people are getting top ranks because of optional, ethics and essay. A general trend. Right. There are some people who get top ranks because of also GS paper, but that's very exceptional. Right. Like if I refer Vinod Duan, the Vinod Duan 74 rank, he has secured second highest GS paper marks. His time. First was Soumya Sharma. It is outside written. Soumya Sharma, 9th rank. So, but he had geography optional. He had geography optional. The geography optional marks were less. And his interview marks was also less. Right. Anyhow, so there can be different types of permutation combinations. For you, which permutation combination is going to work, you can work on that. This. So that we can just we can tell something, let's say overview about this, and then let's say interview we cannot plan. This you should know that. Interview we cannot plan, because interview is like highly unpredictable. It is like camel will turn which turn is not known. As soon as you enter, the weakest area question is asked. This is how. Unfortunate. Yes, some people do not, some people are not able to have good interviews. They are not able to perform. So interview is generally not planned. Yes, it is planned only when you qualify mains. Mains you qualify, so you start preparing for interview. You try to improve yourself. That's why it is not, let's say, part of the strategy. And that is how the basics we can tell about UPSC, that prelims, mains and interview. Then if you see some facts related. So let me show that one UPSC report. Then we'll talk further. Yes. It is the outset itself mentioned that prelims people qualify, which is 2.1%. Total number of people, those who appear, you can see that total number of people appear 11 lakh. It's total number of people apply for this 11 lakh, of which 5 lakh appear. And that 5 lakh, this 11,000 qualified for mains. This 11,000 is 2.1%. It's when 5 lakh people are appearing, only 2.1% are going to qualify. This is the most latest report, 2020-21, and it is about 2019 mains examination. Then this in mains, if you take, so that 11,000 persons who appeared, in that 11,000, right, qualifying rate is 20%. The 20.1% people qualified for interview. Means 5 lakh people appeared, in which 2.1% qualify for mains, that is 11,000. And in that 11,000, let's say that the candidates which were called for interview, so it is 2,306. Basically it is 6 here, but only, let's say, 4 people did not appear. So 2,302 people means appeared, and in that 9,022 persons qualified finally. So how much it becomes if you calculate? So if you take 5 lakh people who appeared and 922 persons qualified finally, so the success rate is 0.16%. 0.16. You can calculate, you are engineers, doctors, so you can calculate yourself, right? So, but this is not only the fact, there are some other facts if you see. These are related to optional, by the way. Yes. This is related to age group. Right. So you can see this, the age group people, those who appear in prelims. So those who appear in prelims, the age group is highest 21-24 years. Right. Highest number of people, those who are in 21 to 24 years, they appear in prelims. There are other percentage, but they are less. 26, 35 it is highest, and you find that it is less than that. Right. So these young people appear. Let's take that in mains. If you take in mains, it changes. Right. So who are those? Here it was 24, but 24 to 21 to 24, 16% and 13%. But those who are 24 to 28 bracket, so you can see that 24%, 29%, 25%, 27%. Means people, those who appear in prelims, they are younger, but the qualifying rate is less. Right. So then those who are appearing in mains, they are relatively older. This. So this is how the fact. Then female, let's say basically they have better success ratio. Right. Same will be for those who have appeared almost. It is 24 to. Then let's take this graph. What it shows, the male candidates, those who appear, right? So their average will be, let's say, 26 to 28 around this. That is how we'll find out. Highest percentage 32%. No, this highest percentage 27.2 male candidates belong to 26 to 28 age group. But female, it is younger, 24 to 26. Right. So it is related to this, those who have appeared in this. So then you will say that in case of female it declines, but in case of male it is not, it has increased also. This. So what these facts can help, means whether these facts are relevant, can they help? Let's take the qualifying rate. If you take different categories qualifying rate, you can see that qualifying rate, and this 8% is the qualifying rate. Once you clear prelims, thereafter there is 8% success rate after qualifying prelims. This. So there are some other facts. What these facts can help? What you can learn from these facts? You can learn from these facts that first, that you should appear in this examination only when you are properly prepared. Right. Because you know that in prelims, how people are appearing, and mains, how there are, because qualifying rate in prelims is less, and that is how age increases. It means in prelims people are appearing with less preparation. Okay. So number of candidates who are appearing with less preparation, or they are not prepared, and that is how they are appearing, and that is what we can find. Or even if they are prepared but competition is very high. You can see competition is very high because 5 lakh people are appearing, so you are competing for that, or competing in that. So the facts can only tell you in setting your strategy right, that you should have thorough preparation. You should have thorough preparation, whatever you are preparing, and you should appear only when you are fully prepared for prelims, mains. Rather than the trend in the market, I have seen that once they have studied their GS, optional even half, still they start appearing. This is how you will find. Because peer pressure is so high that they cannot avoid that peer pressure. Peer pressure, group pressure, societal pressure, parent, let's say, pressure. The parents are also saying, "Kya kar rahe ho ek saal se Karol Bagh mein," isn't it? Anyhow, marketing, sabji ka. So the question is that this is what you'll find, that parents' pressure. So you have to show result. Right. So you have to. These are all not right strategies. You don't have to appear to show result and satisfy someone. You have to appear to satisfy UPSC. Right. That should be the target. And if UPSC is the target, if other people are unhappy, let them be unhappy. The day you will qualify, they will become happy. And that is how we can consider in terms of some facts related to UPSC. Let's take next. Next we have to talk is knowing syllabus. Right. Syllabus. Why we are showing it? You know, people do not read syllabus. Have you read syllabus? How many of you have read syllabus? Read. Both prelims and mains? Preliminary only. Yes. So, when we have to know syllabus, means syllabus you should have in your mind. This is the your first lesson. First thing you should study is called syllabus. Not the history, geography, etc. You first study syllabus. Do not read it. You study syllabus. Kyun? So, a candidate after failing repeatedly, right, in 4, 5, 6, whatever the attempts, what he did is he started reading syllabus again. And he told to me that UPSC has mentioned these things in syllabus which we were not aware. This. So, unless you will read syllabus, you will not know UPSC. And second thing, you will not know demand of UPSC. Right. So, in prelims syllabus, you will find that things have not been made. Means they have not made anything that you need to know. Although you have to know the syllabus, what are those syllabus. Right. The question is that if you take the syllabus, this, whatever the history you have, the current developments you have, this world, polity, you should know that in this, what they have mentioned, which was not part of the past syllabus, they have made, let's say, public policy. A term has been mentioned, public policy. Right issues, they have mentioned this. So, when they have mentioned like this, public policy like that, you know that the questions in prelims, they have asked a question related to social capital. One prelims question was related to social capital. Means there are several questions in prelims which are asked, which are not part of any book. The book that we study. Right. Rather, they are part of the dynamic aspect, the contemporary and current developments. They are not events type, they are conceptual. Like say, when a question is asked on social capital, where you will get social capital? Either you have heard it, or you have read somewhere, or while reading some, let's say that material related to society, governance, you came across, civil society, you came across this. So, what it is showing, we'll tell after some time that then social development, this poverty and inclusion, let's say that inclusion, this demographic, social sector initiatives, what basically they are showing? The syllabus is showing that the questions can be of substantial in nature. Substantial in nature means concept based, not fact based. This. So, this we have to understand, which I will tell the category of questions, how the prelims different categories of questions are asked. That will talk you, so then you will understand. Means syllabus is telling that this demand of the prelims now is different from 2013 prelims. You read the paper, prelims paper, see the different questions, nature of the questions. The nature of the questions would be different. Not all, but certainly let's say that some questions qualitatively they would be different. This. Then CSAT syllabus is given and that no need to show. this, you can read that about this. In this strategy, we will talk about CSAT, prelims, whatever. Let's take the main syllabus. Now, let's see what is written about this. What it is demanding. See, it is saying intellectual traits. After a long time, I am using it. So, if you see this, it says that intellectual traits, overall intellectual traits and depth of understanding of candidates rather than merely the range of their information and memory. It is the first two lines of its UPSC instruction. Right. What it is saying, you don't have to acquire a range of information, and let's say means we don't have to acquire only information, and it is not a memory test. Right. It is about your intellectual traits and depth of understanding. This is how it is testing. Right. Then let's say questions are likely to test the candidate's basic understanding of all relevant issues and ability to analyze, take a view on conflicting social economic goals, objectives, demands. The candidates must give relevant, meaningful and succinct answers. This. Then you should know that what they are saying, whether are we, let's say that ki trying to know, have in mind ki what, how we have to prepare, what people are doing, in mains examination, GS paper, they are having information, not knowledge, and their answer is informative, not concept based. This is our experience. They have a set of information and answer is just a set of compilation of information. Right. Do you have a concept? Do you have understanding? Can you organize your content? Can you give a framework to your concept, content? Can you classify your content? Or just you are writing a set of 1 to 10 points? And whether when you are writing 1 to 10 points, whether 1 to 10 points are the different nature or you are writing the similar nature of 1 to 5 points. That is the strategy. That is the right understanding. What we find is that people keep writing mindlessly number of points in answers. They think that this is what? This is a test of information. But it is saying in the outset itself, it is not test of information. It is test of can you take a stand on this, on conflicting issues of the societies. Ability to analyze and take a view on conflicting socio-economic goals. Take a view means can you take a stand? Right. This. So that is how we have to understand. And this is. Then other things. Right. Intellectual traits means it's about knowledge and understanding. That you can read some of the things, understand and write in your own fashion by bringing some innovations. Means you can add some your intelligence in that. This. Rather than you are just simply reproducing. Right. Like say something is, suppose A and A plus B has been taught to you. Are you producing A plus B plus C? So when you are producing C, that is your intellectual trait. But if you are reproducing only A plus B, it is just nothing but It is reproduction of information, not adding any meaning in that. Right. So this is how it means. That suppose you understand, suppose you study anything, you study about what we can say, let's take that you study about the government. So when you study about the government and government, any policy you know, let's say Swachh Bharat mission. A question is on Swachh Bharat mission and you are having some information related to positive aspect of the mission, negative aspect of the mission. But do you have a foresight that how we can improve it also? And that foresight will be your understanding. Your understanding on that. We can do it. And when you write that this can be done, and it is your understanding, it is your intellectual trait which is different from others. So this is how we mean by this. Means what UPSC is demanding is that do not simply reproduce the information you have read, rather you answer the question as it is demanded. Let's say that classroom, the future of a country is written in classroom. That was one essay asked. Right? Now how you will write essay on that? Suppose whatever the knowledge you have, what you will write? So a category of people who are going to write essay, they will start about education. They will write education system. They will write whatever the education policies. They will write the flaws of the policies. They will link with his school education, and they will write how his school education can be improved. It is not essay, it is information. Right. How classroom decides future of the country? Can you tell?
So whatever we are learning in class, we are giving transfer to other person. Even you are changing our whole life, how do we think, how we see what is happening around us. But it is all information we take from our classroom through teachers. And on that,
No, how it decides the future of the country.
future of country.
So because it builds the basic foundation of the future citizens. By imparting it, whether, for example, whether a teacher is teaching the students to mug up the concept or to understand the concept and apply it in their real life. This is one example.
Yes. Then how it is linked to future of the country?
So whatever we have learned from classroom knowledge, it will impact on society now. Based on that knowledge only, it will be future will decide.
So students are parting to the next.
Yes. Good. See, school determines quality of human resource. School determines quality of human resource. Because all people are going to school almost. Almost all people are going to school. Or whatever the percentage of people going to school. Right. That decides quality of human resource the way we are. Right. School is one of the most formal institution, important institution, right, which let's say shape or which nurture people. Our school is the first formal institution which nurture people. Right. informal social unit is family is the first informal social unit which nurture people. But a school is the first formal institution which nurture people, nurture children. Right. So it will be the school, since it is a formal institution, it will decide the quality of human resource. And from this human resource, you supply everything. Right. From politician to doctor to plumber, electrician, all their quality will depend on this human, and they in turn will decide the future of country. This, because a country is led by people. Country is led by people, and quality of people will decide the quality of country, and quality of people is decided by quality of schooling. Right? Because most of the people have gone to school. That's why future of the country is written in school. So those who will be able to link it, this is their intellectual trait. Right? How you write. It is about more understanding, not information. Isn't it? This. So you have to develop more understanding. And in understanding, there must be information. Because without information, we cannot have understanding. Right. So both are important. But it is the understanding which should be overwhelming rather than information. This. And that is how the syllabus is demanding. That's why when you start your preparation, so you should, another right strategy is you have to develop understanding. Right. You have to understand the concepts. Right. The difference between information and concept understanding is you have to know, as I told that, economic system, how economic system works. Rather than you have to know FDI, GDP growth rate, per capita income, inflation. These are all just nothing but different set of terms, tools, information. But when you combine all and then you start understanding exactly how economic system works, that is called your understanding. Right. And then you would be able to establish a link between different segments. Right. This. And then when you will write your answers, its quality will be different from when you have just merely information related to different terms. Right. This is what your approach should be for this UPSC. Then let's take that paper wise. If you take, I don't want to go into that details. Someone says, I am weak in polity but want to take public ad, can I? Linking subject. Yes. These are just syllabus, and syllabus you should read in terms of what are the things mentioned. This paper first, paper second, and etc. Although here UPSC gives essay as paper 1, that's why let's say GS paper 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, 3 becomes 4, 4 becomes 5. It is that way. So why I have tried to bring syllabus here? Because try to understand that there are some topics which are common to all 4 papers. Right? You should know this. Some topics are common to all 4 papers. What can be those topics? Society. Society, social issues, people. Right? Globalization, women issues, gender aspect. No, part of society also, part of polity also, part of GS paper 3 also, because economy, inclusion, social inclusion, inclusive development, and issues it has, planning and development, if you see the first topic. So economy also, and do you know that in ethics paper a question has been asked, Swachh Bharat mission and social influence. Anyhow, so what I am trying to say is that the purpose of showing you syllabus here is try to identify the topics which are common to 4 papers, which are common to 3 papers, and which are common to 2 papers. Okay. This. So, and those topics you should prepare in very thorough fashion. It should be very strong, because the benefits would be 2 places, 3 places, and efforts would be minimized. Right. So when you study society of paper 1, you study social justice of paper 2, and you study social economy of paper 3, isn't it? That way you can minimize your efforts. This is how the strategy, we can say that. And geography, ecology, and environment difficult to separate, and no need to tell. It is very obvious that both are intertwined. And when ecology and environment you study, so you should study also science and technology. Right. Science and technology, ecology, environment, disaster management, interlinked. Ecology, environment, science and technology, internal security, international relation, interlinked. Right. Nowadays, questions are not asked related to science and technology core aspect. Let's write about PSLV. Right. Rather space, India in space sector and threats. Right. So whether ISRO should be changed, it should become more as a facilitator rather than a producer. So changes in Indian space sector due to emergence of startup. Right. So questions will be asked which are substantial in nature, rather than, let's say, the questions which are traditionally the way questions were asked. Hence, this is what we have to develop your understanding. And there are, because when we study internal security, it is linked to international relations also, isn't it? Because internal security, external security, national security, and let's say global politics, international relations, terrorism, other things, money laundering, there are so many things which are linked. So that is how you can, let's say that way you can prepare the syllabus. Means in nutshell, the purpose of telling syllabus here was that to know the demand of UPSC, what UPSC is demanding, that how you have to write your answer, how you have to develop your knowledge. And second thing is that show the connectivity between different papers, right? Paper 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Then third aspect is try to identify the topics which are less dynamic and confined. Now it comes the 3 categories that we are talking: conventional, contemporary, current. Right. How we can identify? Let's say that even in this paper, paper 1, in paper 1, how can you identify which is contemporary topic? Can you tell by your understanding? Right. Yes. So you know that social empowerment, communalism, regionalism can be considered. Or effects of globalization on Indian, because globalization is a contemporary development. This can be considered. Do you know in this a question was asked on geopolitical aspect. In paper 1, a question related to IR was asked. Geopolitical. Why? Because geography. Right. So a current question can also be asked, you know. A current question was asked related to smart city in paper 1. You know about a smart city? Right. It is current. My smart city is current development. But globalization and its impact on society is contemporary development. So that is how you have to understand the different nature of topics. Although paper 1 is not as dynamic as, let's say, that paper 2 and paper 3, they are highly dynamic if you take in analyze in that term. So that is what we can tell about the syllabus. Try to know the syllabus. Ethics paper, so what to tell about ethics paper? You see this, when I will tell strategies, so there I will tell. Nothing to tell about ethics paper. And paper 2, when we'll take strategies, so there we'll talk about. What we will say is that, yes, I was saying another thing which I skipped, that try to identify those topics which are very small, less dynamic, and you should have notes on them. Right? Like how we can understand why it is important. Let's take Indian culture. Very vast. Right. The less you know, the more you know, isn't it? Or the more you know, the less you know. So his topic can be considered very confined. Effects of globalization on Indian society. A small topic. If you get any note on that, any literature on that, you can prepare a short note on that. Similarly, role of women organization, population associated, poverty, development issues. So role of women can be considered, not urbanization. Urbanization is very, right, so it is very vast. But role of women organization, it can be considered. Population can be considered. Right. And these are very, let's say that, very vast. But within that, let's say if you take tsunami, volcanic activities, cyclone, they cannot be very dynamic. At least tsunami cannot be very dynamic. Right. Anyhow, in this, let's say if you take paper 2, so very, let's say that which topics we can consider confined topics. Basically, let's say statutory body, regulatory bodies, various quasi-judicial bodies, they can be considered. Then NGOs, self-help groups, pressure groups, like such topics. Then poverty and hunger. So Indian diaspora means you have to identify some topics which are not very dynamic, and you should have proper notes on that. Why? What it will help? It will make your preparation very strong. Because questions are repeatedly asked from such topics. I will tell you that self-help groups since 2013, 3 to 4 times they have asked. And pressure groups also 3 to 4 times they have asked. Just imagine. Means you are reading Parliament, such a huge topic, right? And less predictability of a question. And self-help group, which is a very small topic, right? And then let's say 3 to 4 times questions asked. Pressure groups, very small topic, and 3 to 4 questions they have asked. So small topics which are confined, less dynamic, they are more paying, more rewarding. But we do not pay attention to that. Nowadays you have lots of, let's say it is taught also in the class. You have Google also, you can Googleize also, and you can gather, write good information, and you can prepare your notes. Right. This is another part of your right strategy. Right. means knowing the demand of the how to prepare, right? Then interlinking of the papers, and then confined topics, preparing notes on that. These are, let's say, there are some other aspects that this is how you should know about the syllabus, and that demands that you should know syllabus first. You should remember the topics of the syllabus, GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4. If you think it is difficult to remember all the topics, so it is difficult to prepare for civil service. Isn't it? Anyhow, now we will talk about UPSC means UPSC demand. We were talking although, right, where I have kept. Yes. No, it is not needed. So let's take that. Prelims, largely we can have three categories of questions. One is related to sharp facts, or you can say factual questions, which are not very high in number. Like, if you say that MP lad scheme is implemented by which ministry? Simple question I am talking. Which of the following ministry implements MP lad scheme? Member of Parliament, local area development? No. Simple question. Or let's say Manrega is implemented by which ministry? Right. It is a sharp fact. Or smart city mission is implemented by which ministry? It is a sharp fact. So some questions are related to that. Like if you check, MP-led scheme question was asked and some of its features were asked. Right. If you know them, you can correct. If you do not know, so there are some fundamental questions which we try to test. So this way. So UPSC has some fundamental types of questions. If you read UPSC papers of last 30-40 years, you will find some repetition of questions and similar nature of questions are framed. Since we do not try to read UPSC papers, we try to read market papers more and more, so that's why you do not know UPSC. Because UPSC papers do not attract you. No, market papers attract you because they are very attractive. So this is how it is. Like repeatedly they have asked question on planning commission, whether planning commission is an executive body or it is a statutory body. Right. Our planning commission deputy chairman is appointed by. Similarly, Niti Ayog vice chairperson is appointed by. Right. So who appoints planning commission deputy chairperson? Right. Prime Minister, Cabinet, President, Parliament. Prime Minister. Yes, Prime Minister. But Deputy Chairman of Planning Commission was appointed by Cabinet. Yes, this is a change. It is a sharp fact. We say it as a sharp fact. Its sharp fact is not digit something. Right, it is exact knowledge. Right. So some questions will be on that basis. Right. Then some questions will be based on concept. Right. Concept based question. So they can be related to, let's say, federal. The federal, let's say that federal features they can give, quasi-federal features they can give, or inflation concept they can ask, right, growth, investment, different types of, let's say that things they can ask. They can give an analogy, export and import happens like this, what will happen? So they ask also that type of question. So questions are concept based. Then let's say that substantial or understanding based. Understanding based question. Like once they ask that RBI regulatory bodies, something related like regulatory bodies related question, or if I can ask a different question I can tell. Yes, once they ask the question that liberty is most where the law is. Right. Our liberty is most where there is lawlessness. Right. So liberty and law relationship they ask. 2019. Right. So it is based on understanding. Where the liberty will be highest?
Where a limited law exists.
Limited law exists. Right. So the correct option was that law, where there is law. Because law will protect all people liberty. Right. This. Anyhow. So they have been asking questions related to understanding. This means you have to develop, some of the questions are asked based on understanding which we have never read in book. Rather on the basis of your knowledge and understanding you can answer. This. So it's not that the questions are directly going to be asked, let's say from books like this something. Rather it is that over and above that the knowledge that you have, on that basis you can answer. Now while preparing, this is how you have to focus. When people are preparing their prelims, they more focus on this one. The less focus is on this. They are trying to memorize, learn again information. Right. This you should know that. And that is called, all these things should be fundamental knowledge. All the three categories should be based on your fundamental knowledge, means what government sources say. Right. What government sources say. मतलब आपको गवर्नमेंट के सोर्स से पढ़ना होता है ज़्यादा. Right. So because government has legality. Right. So general information you don't have to get, generic information you don't have to get. You have to get fundamental knowledge of that topic. Who will know the fundamental? I told that Niti Aayog and Planning Commission. So unless you have a fundamental source, you cannot have this understanding. Right. Fundamental, I mean to say that whatever the source you read for prelims, it should be, let's say, more or less government resource. Government, let's say that reports, government papers, government, let's say, information. So because those things are very genuine information or fundamental information. This rather than any generic knowledge you develop. This. Plus you don't have to worry, even if let's say that you have these three things lacking, there is still one thing you can master, that is called elimination method. Right. So strategy can work like elimination. You have to learn elimination. You have to learn elimination technique. Right, because you will never know more than 20 to 30 questions answers out of 100 questions, no matter how good you are. Right. After 20 to 30 questions, in 70 questions you have to apply elimination technique. And elimination technique you can apply better if you have recognition. Recognition means you should be at least familiar with what is information given. Then you will be able to recognize, and the more the recognition, better the elimination. So in prelims, what you have to do yourself? You have to become more and more familiar with more and more facts, more and more information, more and more diverse sources. Although you are trying to acquire knowledge also in terms of factual, this basis through different source, fundamental, let's say, sources that you have. But at the same time, you can also become familiar. So suppose you are, the difference between you and me is that, let's say I am more familiar, means I am familiar with more and more information. When I am familiar with more and more information, even if I may not have exact knowledge, but I can eliminate the options. This. So it is not necessary that exact knowledge is needed. You have to have also this kind of familiarity, and that is how it can help in improving this your prelims performance. Thereafter, let's say, as far as books are concerned, sources are concerned, I guess different teachers will tell you different things about their subjects. In general, I can tell you that each conventional section has its own fundamental books. Right. One is called NCERT. Right. So NCERT for all the section. If you take one by one, let's take history section. So when you take history sections, it's the NCERT. Right. And NCERT you can take 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, this, or some people even go from 6th standard. So it depends. Plus, let's say that after that NCERT you have also Bipin Chandra. The Bipin Chandra, that can be read before independence, after independence, both you can read, depending how much, let's say, time you spend on that. There is also a spectrum which gives in brief. Spectrum as a source, the spectrum, and it gives in brief about, let's say, modern, let's say, historical movement, means freedom struggle movement. That can also be taken as source if you take, related to history. If you take geography, so same, NCERT, 11th, 12th NCERT, plus we have one, what we can say, GC Leong. And then we have, let's say, one map. Any map you can take, geography through map, this is how it is said. Although, let's say, Lakshmikant will tell you about geography, etc. and history. Just I'm trying to give you, since I'm supposed to give you general strategy about everything. So this is what you can take geography section. See, economy sections, again NCERT, you can take 11th and 12th NCERT. Plus you can take any book from market related which gives you terminology related. So terminologies etc. is related, let's say that source, that can be. Plus you should try to take, let's say like say economic survey comes, so economic survey you should take. Plus current developments, whatever the current developments take place. So from there you try to learn, but yes, first try to learn the basics of economics. This we can consider. As far as polity is concerned, so there is one constitution book, there is one politics book in NCERT that you can take, and then you can take LUKMAAN for prelims, polity section. So one NCERT book named as Politics and Democracy something, or Democracy let's say, and Constitution, both are NCERT books. They will help you knowing some basics of polity and governance. And then you can take what we say LUKMAAN, which can help you. And then general science. So general science you can read whatever the sources. It is again, let's say it is called 9th, 10th standard NCERT. The only source you can have. Rest you can depend on your 10+2 standard, right? This. So I guess I have told all those sections. No. Then current affairs, contemporary developments, try to understand that in prelims they are asking different types of questions apart from these sources. These sources are still not adequate to cover questions. Which questions? They are asking questions related to law, policies, even rules, conventions. Right. So you have to know all major acts, not amendments, right? Major acts. Let's say Protection of Environment Act, Right to Information Act, Unorganized Sector Social Security Act, Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Areas Act, PESA Act, Forest Right Act. Means you have to know all those major acts, because questions are being asked from those acts. You should know Forest Right Acts 2 times questions have been asked. Right. So this you have to know. Then you have to know about institutions, various types of institutions. It can be constitutional institution, statutory institution, executive institution, national level and international level institutions. So that you have to know. Plus you have to gather some GK type of knowledge. Right. GK type of knowledge. From different sources, it can be even Manorama. Manorama yearbook or Lucent you have. Means you should not only depend on these history, geography, polity and society or general science books. They will not be adequate enough. There are still several questions which are asked beyond them. Right. And they are factual also, understanding based also. To cover them, to target them, you have to broaden your footing, I say that. You have to broaden your footing of preparation through various sources, whatever the sources that you can have. And that is how we can talk related to, let's say, prelims plus last 30-40 years UPSC papers practiced at least 10 times. This is how it is. Means whenever you finish one section, suppose polity section is finished, then what you should do is that you should practice all polity related questions, all history related questions. Don't solve other papers. First develop an insight, intellectual trait of UPSC. What UPSC is means how UPSC asks questions, and play with the mind of UPSC. Right. So once you have been practicing it, so you will come to know how UPSC asks questions. That is one way to qualify. There is another way, is called brute force. Brute force you may be aware about, the the brute force technology. The brute force technology is that thousands of questions you solve and then some of the questions will strike UPSC questions. So it is called luck and chance because brute force can right, help, cannot help. This is what related to what you can say prelims. We have given prelims related details, prepared how to prepare, what to refer, resource, etc. Right. Mains related will deliver it. It means by the time we finish this your session. Yes, we have a pre-foundation session generally. It is taken by our one student who is a civil servant now. So he generally takes pre-foundation. He gives guidance for almost 25 classes for NCRT. So he will take, let's say, each section NCRT and he will tell you, guide you about each and every NCRT, what to read, how to read, and what are important things. That session is helpful in understanding about what to read and how to read NCRT, and some of the insight he will give as he had his own experience of UPSC. So that class would be held before this class, means from 9 o'clock. Now it will be, let's say that online class. So 9 o'clock to I think 9 to 10:30 they may have planned it. Detail I am not aware, but it will be before the class, before class commences. So that session will be held, and you would be also given recorded video on that, the pre-foundation. He will further help you in developing your understanding related to prelims. Right. Now then it comes, let's say that mains. Mains related, if you take a strategy. So in mains related strategy, your approach should be that first you study the syllabus thoroughly. Don't try to write answers, daily answer writing practice. Right. Time will come to write answer. First you get your knowledge. So each paper should be thoroughly studied, syllabus wise, topic wise. This and sources for mains would be a bit different. Right. I can tell about paper second, paper 4. Others will tell you since they will take their session, their papers. For paper second, let's say Lakshmikant is the source, but it is not going to. Lakshmikant in mains can help you only 1/3. 2/3 you have to depend on other sources. Right. The Lakshmikant, another book is called Governance. Governance related book, that also you can take. But it is still conventional. Hence, fortunately, unfortunately, we have to tell you have to depend on class. Right. So the way we teach, it is very comprehensive, and we teach conventional, contemporary, current, all, and class can help you, class notes can help you almost 90% of this paper. 10% since it is dynamic, so the time you appear in mains, you can refer current affairs, add current affairs. So class notes plus the printed notes that we give, that can work as supplement. Plus we give one scheme and program booklet, that committee and commission booklet, that plus compilation of 1 year ED class. That means there are, let's say that so many different resources which are given on dynamic section, contemporary and current section. So that way it can help you. This is what we can say as far as sources are concerned related to paper second. Similarly, related to paper 4, the sources here will tell you that it is Ethics in Governance by ARC second, Ethics in Governance by ARC second. Right. Then the 2 booklet we gave printed notes, that one. Plus we give two booklets, one model answer for theory section, one model answer for case study. It is for your practice. That helps. Plus we give one current compilation, 1 year of current compilation of ethics. Nowadays every month we are bringing one ethics related separate magazine in which we give you ethics related topics, resources. So these all, and at the same time, let's say the way paper 2 is taught, paper 4 is also taught. You may be already aware about the resource sold in the market. So on ethics, right? So class discussion, class handwritten notes, that means class, let's say that discussion or whatever you are going to write, we teach in the class, that would be again adequate enough. This we can say. So that is what we can take about this mains paper. As far as your strategy on whether we should treat syllabus, mains and prelims separate, so you should not treat it. Your preparation should be mains oriented. Prelims should be subset of your preparation. So when we also teach, our approach of teaching is also that. Our approach of teaching is also that we teach in mains oriented. Right. Like say ki, suppose paper 2 is taught, we will teach the way the syllabus is of mains. So mains oriented teaching. Within that prelims is covered. Plus separate prelims, let's say that prelims sessions are held, prelims tests are held, prelims discussions are held. When let's say it comes November or December or it can be January depending the way the session is. As far as old session was concerned before COVID, so it was November and December that ki prelims special classes and tests will start. This as like this time we started in January and Feb. Right. So and there are over 25 tests, then each test. This time they have designed 73 tests. Every day there is a test. And every day there are 40 or 50 questions are given, and in morning 50 questions are given, in evening discussion is taken. And then you interact with those separate faculties. Means ki for prelims there is a special 3-month session. That way it supplements or it covers the prelims orientation. Teaching will be done mainly as mains orientation. And you should also prepare yourself in that fashion. You should not segregate prelims and mains. And first you should prepare mains rather than prelims. Means first you should prepare optional and GS paper and then you should start focusing on prelims. This like say suppose you start as of now, so your focus in prelims should start during October, November onwards or December onwards. Not right now. Although let's say as far as our course details, suppose if we tell the course details, in course detail let's say that ki all the 4 papers are taught, then thereafter every 3rd week if you see this the schedule, every 3rd week test is conducted. The test would consist of 5 mains related question and 50 prelims related question. So there are over I think 40-50 types of test, total test if you take throughout 10-11 months if you say. So in a way you are practicing prelims also and mains also from the very beginning. Right. This plus separately prelim session is held. So that way let's say that plus every Saturday you are given another 5 questions which are based on current developments related to editorial discussion class. Editorial discussion class is conducted on Sunday and every Saturday 5 questions are given based on that discussion so that you can have writing practice. That we say as WSDP writing skill development program. It means in a week, let's say that every week you are writing 5 questions and every 3rd week you are again writing 5 questions related to the subject which has been taught or finished. This. So Mains oriented writing is also there, so you don't have to go for daily answer writing practice, that is called. Rather, one subject is finished, then test is taken, so then you are in a position to write this. And then current is also taught every Sunday, so gradually you are exposed to the current developments. Initially you may not understand, but later stage you will start understanding all these things. So we should not separate prelims and mains, rather we should have that together. In fact, let's say that we should prepare all the mains related those topics first, then there are some of the topics which are only prelims prelims, let's say that related. They are not part of mains, like ethics paper is not part of mains. Largely if you take science and technology, disaster management, so there are some topics which are not part of prelims. That's why your focus towards December and January should become on those sections which are prelims oriented, and they are also common for mains. And that way, let's say that you can have your strategy like mains come prelims. This is what we can tell about this strategy. As far as classes are concerned, in a week, let's say if you have given, so in a week what we have done. In fact, let me tell you that if you follow us for 11 months, by the end of 11 months, right, if you have followed it, you are well prepared in terms of knowledge, understanding, information, writing skill, and for prelims. Because let's say every day there is a Hindu analysis. Lakshmikant takes daily Hindu analysis, right? So you can understand about the Hindu newspaper, you can get some important inputs related to that. Every day on Hindu analysis, certain short notes are also prepared, a question is also prepared related to mains, a question is prepared for prelims if it is important, and this is how it can help you also orient yourself how to study Hindu newspaper and how to learn from the important inputs given in that. Then the class is held. After class, let's say on Saturday, this is how test is held. On Sunday, ED class is held, and every third week you will have what we can say assessment test. Then CSET, the CSET we have a team of let's say 3 teachers, and CSET class we held either in November or in January. Means it depends on the let's say that COVID situation ki how it is. Generally we start teaching CSET in November or in let's say January. I think in schedule it may have been given. So CSET class, and it goes for 2 and 3 months I guess, which is taught on Saturday and Sunday. So for 11 months your every day is very let's say that packed. In let's say for 7 days, right, you are kept busy with for preparation. If you follow it, execute it, that's how we have designed in such a way that it can help you prepare better. We have another unique or you can say different way, that we conduct some classes in afternoon session to finish the syllabus on time. Because it has become very difficult to finish the syllabus on time, although let's say that you will realize yourself all these things. If syllabus is taught comprehensively, 11 months are also not adequate. This you should know. That's why let's say some classes we conduct in afternoon session, and I guess you should mold yourself, adopt yourself in that way. Because 11 months we will keep you busy and we will help you finish your syllabus. If it is not done, so it is very difficult, because when we teach, let's say that any such subject, like say even polity, when it is taught, it takes time, and when other subjects are taught, it takes time. And that's why it has been designed, and that's why we are able to finish our syllabus within time, right? Like by 11 months or in 11 months. And that is how we can finish here. Since time is up, so other people will tell you other things, and we'll keep telling other things later time. yes, if you have any question, so you can ask that questions. Your side, you can give what you wanted to know, what you want to know, or whether it is helping in understanding how you should strategize yourself.
So when quality batch is going to start?
Yes,
Quality batch.
I see the schedule. It is mentioned in that.
So it has started in January.
Yes, next batch, difficult to tell as of now. Yes,
Also, when epic case study batch is going to start.
case study batch, we have not planned yet, but it is after prelims. Means in coming 15-20 days it will be mentioned. Since we are busy with our present session, so we have not planned yet, but yes, after I guess 1-2 weeks you will get on website all those details. Yes.
Sir, most of the time which we are seeing now, most of the toppers say that only limited source, like for one subject, just take one book. Is it really true that they do this only? Because you would have seen many toppers throughout this journey. So is it true that only one book is sufficient for one subject?
No, that is not true. But what is true is that overall their philosophy of saying. Overall philosophy is that you should have limited sources. It is correct. But for one section, one book you should take, it is not correct. Because let's take Laxmikant, let's take polity. The polity if you take for mains, as I told that Laxmikant does not cover social justice, Laxmikant does not cover governance, or it does not cover civil services. Even in polity section, it does not cover dynamic section. Right. Let's say that fourth judge case, National Judicial Appointment Commission, the fourth judge case, and it can give a brief fact, but a mains question is asked on that, it is not adequate. Criminalization of politics, elections, right. So basically, let's say dynamic section, when questions are asked, so overall philosophy is correct that you should have limited sources. Means you should not have too many sources. Like so people start reading multiple things. Right. Rather you should zero in on some good sources and read again and again. It is correct. This we can say.
So can we say that we need to follow one source for one topic, not for a subject?
Yes. Now when we say one source for one topic, but then it may not be, again let's say it can be a general principle, but it cannot help in each and every case. Right. For instance, let me tell, आपको PIL जानना है, PIL. So you want to know about PIL. Now one source can give you conventional knowledge on PIL, how PIL evolved, what is PIL, and this and that. But you have to know that what are the use and misuse of PIL. So that source will not help. No? You have to have another source. This. So that's why let's say that again the question is yes, overall philosophy you should take that you should follow one source, but we should not also become so rigid. We can take case by case. In some cases, let's say self-help group, it may be one source can help you. So some topics one source can help, but some topics you have to depend on some other sources. This. Yes, any other question?
Sir, what's the role of WSDP?
It is Writing Skill Development Program. WSDP you are talking. Its role is to enhance your writing skill. Right. So, since it is important, so every Saturday when 5 questions are given, you write answers. Since class has been taken, since the topics have been taught in ED class Sunday, then suppose this Sunday ED topic taught, the coming Saturday test is held. already topics taught, on that you are writing test. Then it is evaluated by someone. So when it is evaluated by someone, so on the basis of evaluation, you can mentor or you can, let's say, meet that person, talk about your writing problems. So just imagine that in 11 months you are writing such tests every week. Although it will not be conducted every week, after 3 months a gap is given, this way it happens. So by end of 11 months you can count that your writing skill would also develop. Right. So while you finish the foundation stage itself, your, let's say that you finish your subject, you have developed your writing skill. Right. Why we have named it? So we have run separately WSDP program. Right. Its name, let's say that since last 2 years COVID time, things have become very different. But since 2016 and 17, there used to be a separate program called WSDP, Writing Skill Development Program. That's why we mention it. This. Any other question?
Sir, like, how should we set up our timeline for different subjects? Like, if I have to cover history, so on what factors should I decide that in this many months I have to cover this subject?
Yes, it depends that whether, suppose you are appearing next year, so you have how many months? When you have how many months, how many subjects you have to study, accordingly you should decide your time. Suppose you have to appear next year, 2023. So you have, let's say, 11 months. In 11 months you have to plan yourself. In 11 months I will focus exclusively 3 months for prelims. Then how many months are left? 8 months. In 8 months, let's say that when I am preparing for mains oriented, so how much time I should give for optional, how much time I should give for GS, and the time I give for GS, in that how I should divide the GS time for different subjects. So this will means it is this which is going to decide you how much time you should give for history.
And sir, on what factors should we decide that yes, I am prepared for history now?
Yes. First, you read prelims questions, whether you are able to solve most of the question. Read mains questions and think whether you are able to understand the question or not. Right. And you can also write, means can also writing practice. But if you are able to understand the mains questions, so then it can be a parameter for evaluating your level of knowledge. Yes. So how many questions you understand in out of that questions, let's say, suppose 2013 onwards. If suppose there are 50 questions, are you able to understand maximum number of questions? Or you are not aware about maximum number of questions? Or you are knowing but you are not able to think what I should write? So that can be the parameter to evaluate your level of knowledge. This way we can consider. And some of the things, suppose on the basis of reading papers, you think, oh, I have not read it, you read it again. So this way we cover. So should we finish here? So all the best.